Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome our listeners to this latest edition of our Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce sponsored City Connection program, where the Chamber links our members and our guests to the mayors of the numerous local municipalities that make up the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce service area, so we can all find out a little bit from our mayors as to what's going on in our larger community. And for today's program, we have the mayor of one of our cities by the bay, Seabrook, and Mayor Thom Kolupski. And Thom, let me welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We certainly want to hear a little bit about Seabrook. We kind of all know where it's going, but maybe we should start with a little introduction of yourself. Can you kind of give us a little flavor of your background and how you came to be mayor?
Well, moved to Seabrook about 22 years ago. Been a resident here, built a house. My wife and I moved here from the north side of town, north side of Houston, and we kept a boat here for many years before that. And we finally decided, why are we coming down here every weekend? Why don't we just stay down here? So we found a niche and we found a home, and so here we are. I've been connected with the city in some form of fashion now since 2006, starting on master plan. Then I went to planning and zoning. Then I was a two-term city councilman, and I've been a mayor now for 5 years.
Well, sounds like you've pretty much covered the whole bayfront, if you will, in the local city government.
Got a little bit of experience now, and I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Great. Let me tell you, you've certainly been a resident of Seabrook for a long time. It sounds like visiting even before then. But can you give us kind of a little thumbnail sketch about the city, exactly where it is and the population and so forth?
Well, obviously, it's a great little town. We're nestled here on Galveston Bay and Clear Lake, and there's a lot of opportunity here. It is a small town community. We have that small town feel. We like that. There's been challenges to keep it that way, but I still think most of our residents still feel that this is a small town community. Our population is just a little over 14,000 as per the last census. It's a very safe place to live. Actually, Seabrook has been listed as one of the top 10 safest cities in Texas now for quite a few years. A couple of years ago, Money Inc. magazine actually voted us the best small city to live in Texas. So we're proud of those things. Like I say, we have that hometown feel, yet we're very close to a large suburb, obviously. Yeah. We're the farthest eastern west city in Harris County. Just over the bridges, of course, Galveston County, and we're kind of nestled here in our little niche, and we love it.
Well, I tell you, Thom, I didn't realize Money Magazine had rated you across the nation. That's all good.
Yeah.
And I suppose that probably comes with the city staff and budgets and all that. So
it is. I'm not sure how much we paid for that distinction, but it was a great honor.
Yeah. Well, how about your city budget and your city staff? Can you give us some idea about that?
Well, council and staff have done an excellent job over the years of keeping the money reined in. It's obviously everybody knows we have a small highway project going on, and during that time when they at the widening and the taking, we lost 73 businesses, which is a huge loss for a city our size. And the tax base, we lost a lot of our tax base during that time, but the city did a great job of maintaining and maintaining the quality and the amenities and the city budget to keep our utilities and our police officers still traveling. So they've done a great job, and council has done a great job. I can't say enough about them.
Yeah. Well, what is your city's annual budget generally?
Boy, I figured you would ask me that, and yeah, but I believe it's somewhere around 16 million. I think somewhere in that range.
All right. And you, of course, mentioned some of the things going on, and you mentioned the effect of all the Highway 146 and the bridge work that probably most of our listeners are familiar with. But can you kind of give us an idea? What's the schedule on that?
Well, the schedule is kind of a moving target most of the time. If it rains for a day, the schedule gets put back a month or so. But it's we're still looking at the earliest date they're telling us is December of 23. But I think more realistically, it's probably in the spring of 24 for final completion. They have their issues, but right now, since they moved everybody to the feeder roads, all of the construction is more in the center of the project, and is not affecting traffic as much as it was early in the project. And things are moving better.
And so on completion, I'm trying to visualize what that's all going to look like for the city.
People have a hard time envisioning what a 12-lane highway looks like, including myself. Because every time I look, it's something different, and I'm going, I didn't know that was going to be there. But it is a highly needed project. Even with the loss that we suffered through our businesses, I'm very pro transportation. We have the port as part of our ETJ. And the Bayport terminal, and traffic is a big necessity around this area. We're proud of our port. We're proud of being a part of that, and that's the largest exporting port in the country, and so we see the necessity for this transportation requirement.
Sure. Well, stepping back from that transportation infrastructure, if you will, and that project there, I believe I've heard there are a number of other developments going on within your city boundaries. Can you give us a flavor of some of those?
Well, like I said, we because of the loss of businesses along 146 and actually the lack of property to rebuild, we had to rezone a couple of areas, and we did have a few areas that still needed development. And we've been pretty fortunate that things are starting to move here in Seabrook again. Businesses were reluctant to build something knowing that there was a 5-year project ahead of them. And so they've been reluctant to come back, but we're seeing a lot of activity now. We're seeing a lot of interest along some of the vacant properties along 146. A lot of new businesses coming. A lot of our old businesses are starting to look again. But we rezoned an area off of Repsdorf, the Repsdorf Circle, where CVS and AutoZone moved to. Mm-hmm. And we have recently, as a matter of fact, it's in design right now, but we have a very nice urban kind of development coming, 400 plus Class A apartment project. And along with that, about 31,000 square feet of retail area, all nestled around nice urban garden type setting. And so we're looking very forward to that project. It's a great developer, and it's moving ahead pretty quick now.
And what's the name of that project?
It's called The Edge.
Edge.
It's just on. It will front 146, but there's also access off of Lakeside Drive and Repsdorf.
Okay. I think I've also heard a phrase, the Margaritaville. Well, not just Jimmy Buffett, but Margaritaville Seabrook version.
Right. Margaritaville is a project that we've been trying to get for quite a few years now. It came to me from another developer who started looking at Seabrook. It is actually a Margaritaville Compass Hotel, which is their boutique hotel version of Margaritaville. It still has all the amenities that Margaritaville has, and the lazy river and the 5 o'clock somewhere bar and the whole bit. Um, but it's right on the lake, Clear Lake, next to where excuse me, Sam's Boat is currently located, and will remain. Sam's Boat will remain, and just off Ness Road 1, we have it's a very big complex that will be built there, just not Margaritaville. There is along with the Margaritaville Boutique Hotel, there's also an extended stay hotel next to it that will be managed by Margaritaville. And then next to that, there is a planned, I call it a convention center, but it's more of an event center, about 25,000 square feet. And then next to that, 4 new restaurants, all facing the water, all built on a podium with parking below. And so we're really excited about that project coming. I think it's going to change the face of the lake, and it's a very exciting project. I think it's something that we've been lacking for a while as a destination, and so I think this fills that void.
And what's your current schedule that's being
Margaritaville is going to take a little bit longer in the design phase because of the complexity and how many projects will be going simultaneously. But we're anticipating probably a break ground date of maybe summer next year, and probably a 2-year project. So mid 25 or early 25 is when we'll probably see that project completed. The edge is probably, hopefully, break ground by the end of the year, and that's about a 1-year project, also year and a half.
Okay, so if our business members and listeners want to think about business opportunities and new businesses moving into the Seabrook area,
there's a lot of opportunity where the 31,000 square feet is going to be in 5 or 6 shell buildings around a beautiful lawn urban setting area. Two of the pad sites are going to be right on 146. So there is plenty of opportunity for businesses, restaurants, retail to come to Seabrook and be very successful. When you got a 12-lane highway going in front of your business, it's pretty lucrative to be there and be there now.
Well, maybe that's what people call traffic.
Yeah. There is quite a bit of visibility now.
Yeah. Well, stepping away a little bit from the business sort of things and kind of, I think, Tom, you had indicated that you were a 22-year resident of the city, and in terms of amenities for residents, what would you focus on as the mayor?
Okay, am I back?
Yeah, you're back. We just dropped you, Tom, just for a minute, but I was trying to shift gears. We were talking about business and business opportunities, but just in terms of residents, what things that the city offers your residents that are unique?
I still think I'm having an issue here.
Okay.
Anyway, if you can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay. I missed part of your question. I'm sorry when I lost it.
I'm just trying to get a flavor for what unique things that the city offers its residents.
Well, being in this close of proximity to the bay and the lake, boating is a huge amenity that is here in Seabrook. Just having the casual feel of being a bay area city and a small town feel. We do have one of the largest trail systems around. I think we've got almost 20 miles of trails now that go right up next to the bay, through a lot of wilderness area, deer, wildlife, whatever. It's a very, very casual type setting. And that's one of the biggest things going for Seabrook is is the Bay Area. We're proud of it. There's a lot of outsiders and visitors that come and use our trails. And it's just a beautiful, tranquil place to be.
Yeah. And how many miles of trails is that?
I think it's, we just extended it. It may be 16 to 20. We are looking at actually connecting it after the highway is built, after 146 is complete, is to actually connect it to the Armand Bayou trails, which will then give us another huge amount of walkability.
So that would link the hiking and jogging and trails to the larger, what is
Right.
it, natural amenities we have in Armand Bayou and the city of Seabrook has?
And that's correct. There's always been kind of this divide at 146, keeping our trails or keeping our north or our west and east side connected together. The new highway is going to give us an opportunity because we are working with TxDOT to get that connection.
Oh, that's great. And I guess, Tom, in terms of, I think you indicated small town feel, if you will. How are you balancing all that with everything that's going on, construction and development and so forth?
We still have what we call Old Seabrook, which is on our east side, which gives it the small town. It's still the small town feel of Old Seabrook. We just completed a study that we were given a grant by HGAC for looking at a livable cities grant to see how we can enhance that area to give it a walkability and old town feel. We're into that. The city just committed $1 million for some infrastructure to start that project, kick that project off, and so it'll give our historical region, our historical area of Seabrook, a facelift, and I think that's needed. We have new restaurants in there, parking. We still have access to the bay and what we call the slough and things like that. We have currently, for some reason, our forefathers decided that was a good place to put a sewage treatment plant. And since it was the lowest part of the city, but the lowest part of the city has caused some problems in that. So we just, we received a year ago, a $38 million grant from FEMA to relocate that sewage treatment plant 180 degrees to the north side of the city. And we've started that project. So that will clean up that area, create another park right there by the water. And I think it'll be a much nicer, cleaner, more appealing area of town.
Well, that sounds like a major project. Then you're moving that infrastructure all the way to the other side of town.
Yeah, like the saying goes, it typically flows downhill. Well, we're making this flow the other way.
Well, and for our listeners, the area that you're talking about, kind of upgrading the old traditional part of the city, that would be the portion right down there on the bay, just east of 146, correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's the oldest part of town. It's actually where Seabrook started, right there, and that's where the history is, and that's what we want to maintain. It's hard to maintain the small town historical area with a 12-lane highway coming through.
Well, you're balancing a lot of things. You're balancing new growth. You're preserving your old portion of the city and dealing with the infrastructure of the road and the necessary sewer systems. All of those, I suppose, are challenges. But just in terms of your tenure as the mayor, what have you seen? And what do you see as the biggest challenges coming down the pike for the city of Seabrook and its leadership?
Well, a lot of it has been obviously it changes all the time. When you talk about challenges, I mean, there's always a challenge. People laugh and make fun of my tenure. mayor because I've been mayor for 5 years and I've had to declare 6 disasters, declaration disasters. So with hurricanes, ice storms, pandemics, you name it, those are the challenges. The challenges are to keep the city safe and keep everything flowing in a neat way. We have a tremendous staff. We have a tremendous first responders, EMS, and the challenges they face when a natural disaster is coming is truly mind-boggling as to what they do. So very proud of them. But those are the challenges. Personal challenges, I think, is just to make sure everybody is on board and we're all moving in the same direction. There is a challenge somewhat to that. Everybody has their own pet issues and pet requirements and pet projects, but some are attainable, some are not. We'd love to hear them, and there always is a consensus of which way to go.
Yeah. Well, in terms of consensus and working towards consensus, are there any particular strategic goals or plans that the city council and the mayor are working on in terms of the city that we haven't addressed or talked about earlier?
No, I think the biggest thing is that we have there are some projects that we'd like to do. We have a park, Pine Gully Park. We lost our pier in the last tropical storm, and rebuilding that. We lost our boat ramp with the highway project, and we'd like that to be restored. The problem with that is we have plenty of places to put a pier or our boat ramp, but just not a lot of places to park all the trailers that put the boats in. So we're working with TxDOT to recover, something, and TxDOT is working very well with us trying to do that. Okay. Those are the two items on the closest agenda right now.
Yeah. Well, Mayor, we've got about 5 minutes left, and I thought maybe I'd kind of step back a little bit and focus on your tenure as a mayor, and maybe ask you, what's the most surprising thing that you've dealt with as a mayor?
Well, I think we all have one or two surprises that are thrown in front of us every once in a while. One of them is how do we keep moving forward in the face of this construction? People are always calling and saying, including my wife, who has to travel in that traffic every day, and we get the surprise of, yesterday this lane was open.
Yeah.
Today traffic's backed up for 6 miles. Right. So, and since you're the mayor, do something about it.
Right.
I'm not sure if she wants me to go out there and direct traffic, but yeah, we try our best.
Well, I guess you're having to work with, to some extent in that, you're certainly having to work with state officials and TxDOT. And how has that been? TxDOT has been very good. They have their challenges also. Their job is to get a highway built. And so, along that line, it's been very good. Sometimes they just tell us what we want to hear, and I wish sometimes they would just be a little more open with us. But the project has gone very well. We are ahead of schedule, and we appreciate all that they've done. Yeah. And it is, and state officials and local officials, we have a very good relationship amongst the mayors. Our mayor association is great. I get a lot of help. I learn more from my peers than anything. And we at some point we all share the same problems. Every city is going to face the same problem at some point. So we count on each other. And I can't thank our neighboring mayors more than having their guidance and their experience.
when I took this job, I didn't have a whole lot of experience being a mayor, as any of us do.
Mhm.
And so, it's a learning curve and it's a learning experience every day.
Well, maybe I'll wind up with this. If I were going to ask you, as the mayor of the beautiful municipality of Seabrook, what are the 2 or 3 things you like best about being mayor?
Well, that's pretty tough to answer. It has its days, and so, but I think the biggest thing is knowing that I've done my best, and I appreciate when somebody says, "Hey, you're doing a good job." That's all I can ask for, and that's all I expect.
Yeah.
And so it's a obviously challenging, but I love the challenge. It keeps me young.
Yeah. Well, I think we probably ought to think about closing a little bit. I certainly wanted to thank you, Mayor, for spending some time with the chamber. Of course, the Clear Lake Area Chamber wants to be a partner and wants to be a link with the municipalities that make up our service area, and a link for our businesses that are all part of this larger community. And you've certainly described more than your fair share of things going on, from a major highway structure, moving sewage and water treatment centers, and larger developments coming in, Margaritaville and the Edge. And wanted to appreciate and thank you for your time and willingness to take some time out of your busy schedule and talk to us all about what's going on in Seabrook.
Well,
really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity to let people know about our small city.
Okay. Well, I think with that, we'll go ahead and close out the show. Thank you so much, and appreciate it.
Thanks again.